Dinosaurs are no longer with us, but people still get excited when they're found. A scientist recently uncovered something incredible while excavating a fossil site, and today you will find out what it was. But before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe. Today we'll be answering the question, what dinosaur have we not found yet? But before we begin, if you're new here and love dinosaurs and all things paleontology, hit that subscribe button. So, every so often a news story pops up about scientists finding a new dinosaur fossil. Even though we've been digging up dinosaur bones for over 150 years, we seem to be finding new ones all the time. So many, in fact, that there's not enough time in the day to cover all of them here on Paleologic. Just this year, in 2023, researchers described the remains of a new dinosaur from the UK. They discovered a partial skeleton that included the skull of the animal. The most surprising part of this animal wasn't even the animal itself, but instead a previously unknown trait. This dinosaur was a relative of Ankylosaurus, and yet it had no armor. Yes, that's right. It was a completely naked ankylosaur. Maybe it got bullied by other ankylosaurs. Who knows? But that's not the only thing that's surprising about dinosaurs. There are literally thousands of fossils out there waiting to be discovered, and we're going to take a look at a few of them today. But before we do, let's talk about something that's been keeping me up at night. It's easy to get distracted these days, especially with social media, emails, and text messages constantly vying for your attention. So it's no surprise that research shows our attention spans have gotten shorter and shorter in recent years. As a result, it's also become more difficult to focus on and retain information from the things we want to learn about. That's where today's sponsor comes in. Brilliant is an online learning platform built around active learning. Instead of passively watching lectures or reading PowerPoints, Brilliant gives you interactive lessons that make you apply the concepts you're learning about. You can build your understanding of math, science, and computer science by solving problems, experimenting, and playing around. With courses ranging from foundational and advanced math to AI and data science, there is something for everyone on Brilliant. One course I'm really interested in is their scientific thinking course. In this 7-hour course, you will develop your ability to think critically and solve problems by working through dozens of interactive challenges. You'll need logic, creative thinking, and pattern recognition to work through puzzles and answer questions. If you want to train your brain to think like a scientist, then check out this course today. Thanks to Brilliant for supporting this video, and now let's get back to talking about dinosaurs. So we've just talked about how scientists are still discovering new dinosaurs all the time, but how much do we actually know about dinosaurs? Turns out we don't know very much at all. For example, we know almost nothing about the way most dinosaurs smelled. In fact, we only know what one dinosaur smelled like, and that's thanks to a perfectly preserved dinosaur fart. Okay, maybe we know what one dinosaur smelled like, but the point is, we don't know what most dinosaurs smelled like. We also don't know for certain if any dinosaurs were venomous. Some of them probably were. Take a look at this Microraptor. This little guy was a feathered dinosaur that lived in China during the Cretaceous period. This particular specimen was only about the size of a crow, but other members of its genus were significantly larger. Scientists think that Microraptor may have used feathers on its arms to glide from tree to tree. This would have been useful for hunting birds, which makes sense since birds descended from dinosaurs like this. But the reason we are talking about Microraptor specifically is because it had a pair of hollow feathers on its tail. These feathers were lined with sacs filled with a toxic protein called cryptolysin-1. Cryptolysin-1 is the same toxin found in the venom of modern-day snakes and lizards. So although we don't know for sure if Microraptor was venomous, we have a pretty good idea that it was. Now let's move on to something that we don't know much about, dinosaur skin. Although there have been some rare instances of preserved dinosaur skin, mostly we only know what dinosaur skin looked like because of impressions left behind in the rock. Unfortunately, sometimes these impressions can be misleading. Take a look at this fossil of a dinosaur from Wyoming. At first glance, you might think this is the fossilized impression of a dinosaur's skin. Look at those scales. But if you take a closer look, you can see that this isn't skin at all. Instead, this is the texture of the rock itself. Many dinosaur fossils are found in sedimentary rock, and sometimes this rock has a texture that looks a lot like dinosaur skin. Other times, however, the skin is so well preserved that you can see tiny details like pores. Take a look at this fossil. Do you see those tiny holes? Well, we don't know exactly what they are, but scientists think they were pores that helped regulate the dinosaur's body temperature. Basically, it was a form of thermoregulation, kind of like how we sweat to cool down, except this would have been the dinosaur equivalent of sweating. We just don't know for sure. And finally, let's talk about behavior. We don't know much about dinosaur behavior, but we know enough to give us some clues. Take a look at this fossil of a horned dinosaur called a Centrosaurus. This particular individual died while it was eating. Thanks to the preservation of its stomach contents, scientists were able to determine what this dinosaur ate right before it died. And what did they find? Well, the last meal of this dinosaur consisted of leaves and small twigs. This tells us that not all dinosaurs were meat-eaters, and it also tells us that they preferred younger, more tender leaves. Basically, this fossil gave scientists a window into the mind of a dinosaur. Speaking of minds, what do you think was the smartest dinosaur? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, the reason we're able to learn all this stuff from fossils is that fossils are constantly being found. Every year, amateur and professional paleontologists alike uncover hundreds of new specimens. And who knows what the next big discovery will be. Maybe you'll be the one to find the next big thing. If you're interested in learning more about how fossils are made, check out this video over here, or if you want to learn about a dinosaur that looks like a cross between a kangaroo and a T-Rex, check out this video over here. Just click on the thumbnail, choose one of the videos, and I'll see you over there. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to keep an open mind, question everything, and don't stop learning.